Okay, so here we go. So we're going to have a lot to cover. And if we don't finish it all up today, that's okay. I'm going to share this checklist with all of you, and it will be up on my website. So if you can turn your cameras on and participate, that would be great. This is going to be much more enriching if we have questions and have people chiming in. Um, just a little background on me. I have been in the business since um, 2008 is when I got my license, not in a very good market. I went ahead and dropped that link for you in the chat for this checklist if you would like to have it. And in all that time, I've learned a lot. So most of this just came out of my head. I did reference back a few checklists that I've used over the years to kind of cover this stuff with you guys. Um, and I want you to keep in mind, please don't let this checklist overwhelm you because real estate does have a lot of steps. And the more that you do it, the more that it just is part of what you do. So you don't really have to think about it, right? Um, so don't let the checklist overwhelm you. Just remember that you get to keep the checklist and you can use it whenever you want. So without further ado, does anybody have any questions before we get started? Good. Okay. So we're going to start moving through this checklist. And if at any point in time you want to ask me a question about it, or you want to see me do part of it on the screen, please feel free to jump in, chime in, raise your digital hand, unmute yourself, whatever you guys need, feel free to do so. So the first thing that we want to do when we have a person that has decided that they want to list a property with us or potentially wants to list a property with us is we want to make sure that we add that contact into Command. Keep in mind that Command has a handful of things that you have to use, and the rest of it is if you want to use it. And the reason the pieces that you have to use, we use it to check your compliance. We use it to make sure that you get paid. So we do want to make sure that you know how to use those pieces of Command. And one of the things that we do need to do anytime we're going to have a transaction is add that contact into Command. So does anybody have any questions on actually putting the contact in Command? We good? Making sure that we have the most data as possible makes for better conversations. I always like to touch on children, pets, and family, um, anything like that, and reference that in my Command contacts. So great. If we don't have any questions there, we're going to go ahead and move forward. The next thing that we need to make sure that we do is create an opportunity in Command. So if this person says, yeah, I really do want to sell my house. Tamika, were you asking a question, sweetie?
Oh,
Okay.
no, sorry.
Hey, you're fine. I just didn't want to mute you if you were asking me something. Um, okay, so the first thing that we want to do is create an opportunity for them. So if they say, yes, I do want to sell, but I need to get a new roof and I want to make sure that I get it painted, this and that and the other. So it's probably going to be in the fall or next summer. I would say if it's any longer than 3 months out, go ahead and create that opportunity in the cultivate phase. That way you can make sure you're staying in close emotional proximity to them and making sure that you are there for them when they are ready to go, helping them with any vendors that they need or recommendations along the way. Um, Cultivate is probably the right opportunity phase for that. However, if the contact says they want to get going within the next 3 months, I would probably go ahead and set them into the active appointment type phase or the appointment phase. Get that appointment set, get it in your calendar, and start preparing for that appointment. Okay. So, that being said, make sure you put it into your calendar. Maybe put them on a bi weekly neighborhood nurture smart plan for their current neighborhood where their home is that they're selling and any neighborhoods that they're interested in purchasing in. Whether or not you're going to be helping them with that locally, obviously, hopefully, we'll be helping them if they're moving, to Virginia or something, and we're connecting them with an agent there. That's okay. You can still set up some neighborhoods. Say they're moving to Roanoke in the Roanoke, Virginia area, so that they can start browsing around and getting those email touches from you every 2 weeks. That is a great way to reach out to them. So does anybody have any questions on setting up the opportunity, or does anybody need to see anything in that realm? or are we comfortable with just keeping moving through the checklist? Good, perfect. Okay, next up, once we know that we're going to have an appointment with these people, we want to make sure that we have a listing presentation. Now, at a listing appointment, you're going to run into a variety of different people, right? So you're going to want to make sure that you are prepared for anything, and that once you arrive at that listing appointment, that you're really reading your audience, right? Because if you've not taken a DISC personality profile, that's going to make a difference. Your audience is really going to make a difference in their learning style, especially if you have a couple and one is one way and one's another way. I'm a high D, I'm very quick, and I don't want a lot of details. I just want to get through with it, right? Very detail oriented people are going to want to see numbers. They're going to want to see graphs. They're going to want to see charts and comparative market analysis. So make sure you have it all with you and read the room once you arrive there. So if you want to prepare a listing presentation, you are more than welcome to create your own listing presentation. I've done it for years, just gone into Publisher in Microsoft and gone through and created stuff from scratch. There are designs available for a listing presentation in Command. I believe that there are 8 different ones to choose from. Now, setting up any listing presentation is going to be timely when you're first getting started, right? And then the great thing is once you have that template to your liking, you can just continue to use the same template over and over. Maybe just change out the cover sheet. If you snapped the front exterior or pulled it out of the tax records or an old listing, put that into the front of it, change it to the client's name so it looks customized. Super easy to do, right? At that point. So does anybody need or want to see the listing presentations in Command in Designs, where they are, how to get there? As Tiana is saying, yes. So we're going through. You guys just let me know what you need. So we're going to pop into KW Command here. If you have not bookmarked Command to your bookmarks bar, I recommend you do so, because hopefully we're in there quite a bit. I always liken Command to our phones. If you think about your phone, I think I have like 80 different apps on my phone, which is stupid. And there's a handful of them that we use all the time. And there's a handful of more than a handful that we never use or that we use rarely. So think about Command the same way. You're probably always going to be in contacts, opportunities, right? And then the other stuff, you're going to use them as you need them. So don't let the breadth of the system overwhelm you, because just know that you're mainly going to be in a few spots. So we're going to go in and look at designs here and get into that listing presentation. I'm going to click on my designs applet here on the left. If we ever forget what these are, we can hover. We can also click this white KW on the red background and pop this out so that we can see the full names of our applets. And I'm going to click on designs. Once we get into the design system, you're going to see your crazy Market Center Tech Trainer has 456 designs. So I will take this moment to tell you, name your designs. When you're in there creating them, don't leave them as an untitled design, because then you've got 456 of them that you don't know what they are, right? So make sure that you're giving them names, and that way we have this great new search feature here. So just keep that in mind. But to get into our listing presentations, we are going to come up to our teal button in the upper right and create a design. And we are going to choose a print design. Keep in mind, just because I'm choosing print doesn't mean that you always have to print this design out. It just means it's going to be in a printable PDF format. You can still share it online and people can flip through it and it looks like just a digital magazine type vibe. But we're going to choose print design and click continue. Once we make it into our designs platform, give that a second to load. We're going to come over to the left-hand side and expand listings and slide down to this listing presentation. So again, we went into designs, we clicked the teal create a design button in the right upper corner. We chose print. And once we got into the designs platform, we expanded listings on the left, and we're going to listing presentations. Everybody good and with me? Perfect. So here we go. These are all the different listing presentations that KW has provided for us. Pro tip, I love the way these black presentations look. And if you're printing them out, that's a whole lot of ink. So take those types of things into consideration, right? If you're going to be printing out a bunch of listing presentations, probably stick with, the white backgrounds or stuff, unless you're not using your own printer, and then don't worry about it. But I just wanted to make that note. So I'm actually going to choose this one for a reason, and I'm going to go ahead and click use right here. So once I open this up, I've had a lot of people, funnily enough, text me because everybody likes the way this one looks. And they're like, but what are these weird wonky lines right here on the front page? I get it. I don't like them either. So I took them off of mine. So when we get started in our design, these are our template pages. They are not part of our design, which is in the middle. We are going to say, okay, I like this page, or I just like this page, right? Whichever one you want to add, you're going to click the plus button, and it's going to put it right there in the middle, and you can start editing from here. Okay, so this is your front cover. And the cool thing is, if you've gone through any of my designs classes, I taught you guys to set up your assets so that your picture, your logos, your text, and all that stuff is in there. So I can actually just click this beautiful model's picture and come over to the left and replace it with my own photo, right? By just clicking that replace button. So again, the DBA logo, click it, come over to the left. I can choose, I'm in 2 market centers, so I have 2 different sets of logos, but you can see you can set up folders, which is great. So I can just choose the one that I want. Say I want to replace it with this white KW1 logo, then I'm going to click this little recycle button. I've chosen what I want to replace, what I'm replacing it with, and I'm going to click that button and it will replace it. And then I can just place it where I need to, right? Same thing, if you got a front exterior of this house already, you drove by and took a snapshot from your phone. However, you can come up, you're still in images on the left, you can click add, and you can just upload that image from your computer and then replace this front cover photo with the picture of the actual property, if that's something that you want to do. So once we're satisfied with this page, then we would just move back to our template and say, okay, I'm good with this page. And now I'm going to move into this page. Okay. So once you select this page, this one has those little wonky lines on it that I'm not a fan of. If you want to get rid of those, you can just click on it, click delete. It did have an image placeholder there, but I'm going to click on that image placeholder, and I'm also going to click delete, and now it's gone. So if you see something you don't like, take it off, right? Fully customizable to what you want. And so you can see, you can go through and add as many of these pages as you want, edit them out for yourself. And then once you have it kind of scaled to the way that you want it to be, the next time that you come in, you can do it quickly by just changing out the front exterior, the client's name. It's a lot easier. Go ahead. Brittany, did you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nope,
No,
you're okay. There we go. All right. So everybody good with the listing guide? Everybody feel comfortable?
Yeah, hey, Monica,
Yeah.
can you go back to the template
Uh-huh.
and back to the community page? If you scroll down just a little bit, I sent that one, Burton Hills, right there, right there. I don't remember what number it is.
The comp page right here?
No, go back up to the community page, one up.
Oh, this
right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that one, I had messaged you. You said that there's a way, and you can answer. We can get together about this later if you want to.
No, I'm happy to show this to you. Normally,
Okay.
and I did turn this in, and I don't have an answer yet. Normally,
Okay.
what you would do is the same thing. You're going to click what you want to replace.
Yeah.
But this time, you would come over to the KWLS right here, which is the Keller Williams Listing Service.
Yeah.
And you would choose this and choose snapshot, and say you wanted to look for a zip code or something like what's happening in 27104.
Yeah.
Then you would search for it. And
okay.
It used to give you a bunch of these in different formats with the data of that zip code, and then you chose the one that you wanted and you did that replace function, and it put the actual stats in there. So I'm not sure why that's down, but I did turn it in when you sent me that email.
Okay, all
Hopefully
right.
I'll get a response, but that is normally how you would do it. Once you search
Okay.
for either the neighborhood or the zip, it should give you images to replace this one with that has data from that actual area.
Okay. And
Okay.
the same thing with comps, because you were on that comp page as well.
And
That was the next
the
one.
same thing, comps, you're just picking out the ones that you want to add. And
Okay.
normally what I do is just, if I'm being honest, if I already ran a CMA, right? If I'm printing this out and taking it to someone's house, my CMA's already got pictures of the comp.
Yeah.
I won't use this page. I'll just take my CMA and stick it in that part of the book that I'm using.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Either that needs to go to the end or it needs to be eliminated because you can't quickly integrate. You know,
No,
if you're on the go, you can't quickly integrate.
right. Now, if it's in the KWLS, you should be able to go to KWLS. Let me look for something that's active real quick. But still, you would have to type in the, the bedrooms and the price and all that kind of stuff. And if you've already run a comp,
Yeah. That's too tedious.
why, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is a good chance for you guys to see. Let me pick something near me. This is a good chance for you guys to see what it looks like. So if you're making like a listing flyer, which comes later in the steps of what we're looking at today, then you can actually switch out the pictures. So there's that house. I can click select and the photos will pop up. And so I could click this front exterior and replace it with that one. So that part of the KWLS is working, where you're just pulling up listings, right? I can click this picture and replace it with that picture.
And that was just
coming out of the MLS.
okay. All right. KWLS,
Mhm.
KWLS two.
So it would be KWLS,
Uh-huh.
and then you would pick the listing. I
Okay.
usually search by the MLS number,
Gotcha.
and then it shows up, and you have all the verbiage and the bedrooms and the pictures.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. All right, good deal. Great questions. Thank you guys for asking questions. It makes the class much more beneficial to everybody if we ask questions. Okay, so that covers our listing presentation. Does anybody have any more questions on that piece? Are we feeling great? Good. Okay. So now let's move down into where we're going to get ready for our listing appointment. So the pre-listing appointment. First thing you're going to want to do is start a file. If you're old school and you want a paper file, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Make yourself a paper file, right? That's what we always used to do. Or if you're digital and techie and you want to just make a Google folder or a Dropbox folder or whatever, that is perfectly fine too. I do recommend, and I still do, keep all documents in triplicate. So I will move into my old school realtor hat Google account and show you guys kind of what that looks like. So what I would do is give everything a year, like 2020 listings. And then within that folder, all of my listings from that year had their own file within Google, right? 2020 buyers, all of my buyers for that year would have a folder within there. So that's one of the places that I would keep it. Keep in mind that with KW, if you're using your KW account, you have unlimited Google Drive storage, no caps, right? Not no cap, like our children say, no caps on our data in Google, okay? So you can see in my original account, I'm actually paying for storage, right? 200 gigabytes, you usually get 15. And I've already got 93% of that full, or 93 gigabytes of that full. But with KW, you'll see in my KW Google Drive, there is no limit on my storage. I actually have 140 gigs being used right now. So just keep that in mind. Even if you're not using your KW email address you can still take advantage of that business suite level of other products that you get from Google, right? So I keep everything in my Google Drive. I usually get stuff DocuSign, so there's a third copy. And then I have a copy in Command where I turned it in for compliance. I've now got triplicate copies. I know I can get to those documents if I need them, right? Because we do have to keep our documents for a long time. So I still have file boxes in my attic, wasting space when I could have digitized them probably, but I just never did that. But now I just keep everything digital, but completely up to you all how you want to do that. Okay, so get that folder started. Make sure that when you go to your listing appointment, have your documents ready to sign, right? I know when we're new agents, I remember my first listing appointment and I was like, oh my God. And I didn't know the people for my first listing appointment. A lot of us, it's somebody from our SOI or something. Mine was not. And I had my little book and I had everything all ready. And the person that I was talking to didn't give a flip about any of that stuff. They just wanted numbers and to get stuff signed. And I wasn't prepared, right? I had to like fumble around and have your documents ready, right? You need to get a working with real estate agents, an exclusive right to sell listing agreement. Your disclosures need to get signed. That stuff will usually take you through the listing process. Have it all ready to go. Have it saved in DocuSign. You can host an in-person signing session from your computer in DocuSign, or you can have everything typed into it except for the price, of course, and terms, because we don't know those yet, and print it out and take it with you. Have both. Have it ready in DocuSign and a paper copy, because the faster you can close them at the listing appointment, the better off that you are. If you give them the chance to say, okay, thanks for agreeing to list with me. Now I'm going to go get all your paperwork ready and come back. What if they talk to somebody else in the interim and they took that listing? Get that paperwork signed, right? So have that ready. Okay. Another pro tip, you may choose to leave the disclosures behind and have them fill them out, right? If they don't know when their roof got built and they're not sure when their air conditioning got built, put in and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, I need to really figure these things out, that's okay. You can leave the disclosures with them to be signed. To make sure you can get that working with real estate agents and exclusive right to sell signed on the spot. Okay, everybody feel good?
What about the
Anybody
date?
need to see anything as far as e-signature goes, or how to start the transaction in Command, or any of that piece of the listing process?
If we take the listing paperwork to the appointment,
Yep.
and the house needs work,
Mhm.
so we can't establish a listing date, is it okay to put TBD in there?
For your listing date, for your marketing date, what I would do, that was Brittany, wasn't it?
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure, because I've got y'all pictures over here on the right, and I try not to look over there too much, because I think I look crazy in the recording when I'm doing that. We all don't want Monica looking crazy on the recording. I guess you could put TBD, or you may even just be able to leave it blank, because you can get it signed and be active, but have a different marketing date, right? That's what gives it that time for them to be able to get those repairs and stuff done, if it's not going to be
So is it better to put out a date pretty far out and do a coming soon, so you can do that coming soon?
Depend on what do they need to get done, right? So let me get into the new listing agreement. I haven't. Debbie Overby, chime in for me, girl. I see that,
Hey.
Grace.
You cannot put TBD in any line of any form or contract, because either person could fill that in for you. So if
But
you
if
got
you leave
something, if
Oops,
you've
sorry.
got something that needs a lot of work, put it way out.
Yep, way out.
Okay.
And so when we get down, I didn't want to say the wrong page. So here we go. So commencement of marketing. The firm is authorized to commence marketing on the property on this day, right? So
And then we put the delay.
get it signed. It just means that the marketing date is not the same as the listing date.
And if they complete the repairs or the upgrades or whatever they need to do before
Then you
that
just-
commencement of marketing date, you can cross that out and everybody initial it, and you'll be fine.
Yep, so give
Okay.
yourself more time than you might think you need, and that way if it gets done sooner, that's fine, we can adjust it and go ahead and get you on the market.
And MLS only holds it for 21 days? Or how long will it hold it if I put in just the coming soon part with basic information?
If you put in the, like, if you just keep like a draft in here,
Yeah,
even
doesn't it
think
only hold
that
for 2
long.
weeks?
hold on, let me go into the draft. MLS help. Do you remember that date? How many days, Debbie? Is it 14?
I thought it
I
was,
want to say 21 off the top of my head, but I would have to go back and look.
is it 21 for coming soon and then it only holds a draft for 14?
I
Well,
think
let's find out that
so. I'd have to
answer.
play with that.
We'll find out that answer, and that was Brittany anyway at the end, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
I will email that to you, honey, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Got 2 Brittany's today.
And then you said before too, if you should just leave it blank and then fill it in, wouldn't that be the same thing as,
I would use that marketing commencement date.
okay,
That's what I would do.
okay, just push
That
it
way
really
you
far out.
secure the agreement, right? And I'm not the kind of person, like, if they came back and they were like, we changed our mind, it's not like I'm gonna be like, no, you can't change your mind. So take it as you will, but it makes people feel more obligated to you when they sign something there. That's kind of
Gotcha.
what I want
Yeah,
to take away from that. Because it's
okay.
real easy. I'll take a brief aside. This was with a buyer, not a listing. It was my listing. It was in 2010 maybe. And I had a little condo listed. It was my office manager's son at the time. So I was doing his side for 1% and really hoping to bring the buyer so that I would get a total of 4% for the transaction. And I got a buyer, and I met him there, and he was ready to do the paperwork. And back then I had like the rolling file box with printed documents inside of it in my car, went out to get the offer to purchase. And by the time that I got back in, he was on the phone with his wife, and she said, oh no, we're going to use my friend that's an agent. So that agent never even stepped foot inside of the property for the showing, and she got the commission. So that's why I like for you guys to be Johnny on the spot with your paperwork. Be ready to go. Because people change their minds all the time. Or they remember that their cousin's a real estate agent or something like that. Right. Okay, everybody feel good on prepping for our appointment. You're going to want to pull, copies of the tax card, previous listings, start a preliminary lien search. The attorney's really going to do it, but if you see anything crazy pop out at you when you're looking through about that property, might give you a pause, right? So have all those documents ready to go when you go to your listing appointment so that you can hopefully secure that listing. Make sure that you're discussing agency. Winston-Salem and Greensboro is in this class today. We have the top 2 real estate companies in the entire Triad MLS, and I get to be a part of both of them, which makes me both honored, and I want to make sure that you have that conversation about dual agency, because if they don't agree, Greensboro agents can't show your listing if you're a Greensboro listing agent, and Winston-Salem agents, our buyer's agents, can't show your listing if they're the listing agent. So you want to make sure you have that dual agency discussion. Everybody good? Awesome. Okay. So once we've landed that listing, the thing that you're going to want to do is take a front exterior. Hopefully you're going to be getting professional photography done, especially if it's a higher level home. If you're going to be doing it yourself, please don't use your cell phone. Please use at least a decent digital camera. I know cell phone cameras have gotten good. If you're really great with them, that's fine, but just make sure that you're using high quality photos. If you haven't gotten a listing yet, go through the MLS and look at other people's pictures and think, which type of listing do I want to tie my name to, right? Because our listings go out to thousands of locations on the internet, and your name is attached to it. So what do you want it to look like? Just think about that with your photos. But I always do snap a front exterior photo if I don't have one already. Collect those disclosures if you left them behind with the seller. And send that seller any copies of the signed documents if they don't have them. If they signed them in DocuSign, they have them in their email, but always offer, would you like for me to send you a packet of all of your signed documents, right? Mail a thank you card to the seller. Yard signs. Everybody's office works differently. If you're on a team, it works different than the team over here and all that kind of stuff. We're independent contractors. If you want to create your own signs, there are tons of places that you can do it. Just make sure that you use a Keller Williams approved vendor, or if they're not a Keller Williams approved vendor, give them the manual on the rules. So let me show you where that is. You can actually get there from my website. I'll take this chance to talk about the website. If you want a copy of this checklist, I have it linked right here next to today's class. It's also down here in my downloadable resources. And if you click on this logos and branding button on the left-hand side, it just takes you into KW Connect. But that's going to take you right here to our identity and style guide. So if they're not a KW approved vendor of signs, just make sure they follow this guide. And sign companies know how to do that, right? So it just takes them through, shows them the color codes for the different KW colors and stuff like that. The great thing about KW is we get to really choose our identity and brand ourselves like we want to. They want us to build our own company underneath the umbrella of Keller Williams, which is great because I've worked at 2 other companies and it was not that way. Everybody's sign looked exactly the same. And the only thing that changed was your name and your phone number, and that was it. And everything always looked the same. And the office number was always on the sign. And Monica was not a fan of that. So now we get to make our signs look like what we want them to look like, as long as they're within the brand guidelines. So that is super cool. So if you need to get a yard sign ordered, or if your market center has yard signs there, some market centers have yard signs to borrow, rent, purchase. They can get you riders. It just depends on your office. So find those things out before you get a listing so that you're prepared when that listing comes up. Everybody good? Awesome. Next thing I wanted to touch on is super lock boxes. I am a member of the Winston-Salem Association of Realtors, so I'm unsure of Greensboro's policies and procedures. So I did call to confirm with both of them today. Right now, Winston, we go to the Winston-Salem Association of Realtors to get Supra lock boxes. Those are the digital ones, and we have the app to open them, right? We go to the Winston-Salem Regional Association of Realtors to get our lock boxes. Greensboro, you're supposed to contact your broker in charge because the lock boxes are under their care and you get them from them. So I did confirm that this morning. So I don't want to tell you guys wrong. Everybody good? Okay. So schedule a photographer if you're going to use one. Email some photography tips to your seller if you have a photographer coming, please. Make sure that they're presenting their house in their best light. I always like the story of, if you were going to sell your used car, would you wash it? Would you vacuum the inside of it out? You know, would you shine it up and put Armor All on the tires and do all the things? Of course you would do that if you were going to sell your car, so that you can get the most money as possible. Same thing when we're selling our house. Clean it up, declutter, you know, all the things. And I actually I thought I used to have a photographer tips and tricks, but I am working on one that I can share with you guys later. So just make sure that you share some kind of tips and tricks with them, or just verbally tell them some things to do. Go ahead and order that home warranty to protect the seller if you're using a home warranty on this listing, right? You're not always going to do that. However, sometimes you might want to. So if you're going to do that, go ahead and get it ordered, because that way it covers the seller during the listing period, and then email them that warranty info if you use it. Collect the key and any alarm instructions, get that lockbox over, start entering into the MLS so that you can get that moving along. Does anybody have any questions on, I got the listing and now I'm getting it ready? Good? Awesome. All right. So activating our listing, right? Put that sign out at the house that we ordered. Lockbox, again, if you're using a super, that's great. You can also go buy the combo boxes from Lowe's and Home Depot and the construction package where you get a whole bunch of them, or just individually. There's not a wrong answer. It's different in every market, different in every city, how that usually goes down. Super lock boxes are expensive. So, I mean, if you want to start making a collection of them, great. But they are pretty pricey. I think they're like $120 something. So just keep that in mind. Marketing materials. Hopefully your photographer got your marketing materials complete, or your photographs complete, and you can now order marketing materials or pop back over into designs. Same place we were, since we're talking about listings. You're going to be there in that listings tab still. And there are flyers, and there are trifolds and door hangers and open house and all the different things that we might want to create for a listing. We've got coming soon, got for sale, we've got just listed stuff. We've got, and this is printable, this is social media posts, there's made for stories, made for just posts, right? So there's all different kinds of stuff in here for our listings that's already branded. We just switch out those pictures, switch out our picture, good to go. Everybody good with that? Awesome. All right. So get those marketing materials, put them in the house. I know that listings are flying off the shelf right now, y'all, and that won't always be the case. So it's good while we're in this market for you to go ahead and get it in your mindset that, you know, I usually made like a book, and I had my cover page, and then I had like a tax card and some other info, a copy of the disclosures so people could look at them when they were in the house. If I was using Fairway Mortgage, I used to use them a lot. They would make me lending brochures specific to that house, like here's the different financing options, what it would look like, what your monthly payment would be. I would have that stuff in the book. So whatever your marketing materials are going to be, just make sure you get those put together and have them at the house. And of course, if you're putting a home warranty on it, brag about that. They usually have little counter pop-ups and stuff like that that you can use. We're going to activate that listing in the MLS. Make sure that we're uploading the disclosures into the MLS so that when buyer's agents go to make that offer, they can easily access those disclosures and don't have to stop you in the middle of, hopefully you're out getting a new listing. You don't want to have to stop and email them the disclosures. Upload them in the MLS. Any questions on that? Good. Good. Once that goes active, make sure that you download the Agentful version of that MLS sheet, because you're going to need to turn that in Command. Okay. If you're using a super key, you can actually assign that lockbox to the property in MLS and showing time, and that way anytime somebody opens the door, it will notify you. Right? So that's a good thing to do. Make sure you're adding clear instructions in the showing time. If there's an alarm on that house, please tell your fellow agents that there's an alarm on the house. Nobody likes to be out there and bing, 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 and then the cops show up, and it's not fun. I've been there. I've done that. Just put those instructions in there. If your sellers want to be in the showing time app and get notifications that way, make sure that you give them that data and that info and how to do that. Get your first open house scheduled, right? Some people are taking open houses to a whole new level right now. Ice cream trucks and food trucks and all kinds of stuff. Don't pay for that yourself. Call one of your vendors and get them to pay for it and have them be there with you at the open house. I think it's a great idea, and I don't want you guys to spend your money on it when you have vendors that are happy to do that for you. So I tried to add all that stuff in here for you. Yes, houses are flying off the market right now, and give yourself time to market this property. It's doing you a favor. It's doing your seller a favor. Debbie, is your hand up from before or up again?
From before.
Oh, okay. I just saw it again and I was like, did I miss that? next up, we want to make sure that we're really doing our open house justice and getting our marketing time and getting our sellers marketing time so that we can drive any multiple offer situations or anything like that. My brother's here visiting y'all. Hello, brother. We're going to go swimming when we're done with this. We're excited. My nieces are here too, but I digress. Anyway, so really, and there goes the dogs. Give yourself time to market these properties. And then there are all kinds of classes that people are holding on how they do this, and they make multiple offer situations. And then they say, okay, Monday by 5 o'clock, whatever that you feel like you want to do, or whatever the person that is guiding you. I know Debbie Overby has her own thoughts and processes on this, but really give yourself that time. I know it's exciting for a house to go under contract in 24 hours. And what if tomorrow you were going to get an offer for 20% higher than list price or whatever, right? So give yourself that marketing time. Run those Facebook ads because you're picking up buyers from that. So don't do yourself the disservice of listing it and getting it gone, and then your sellers could have gotten more money and you could have gotten more business, right? The 7th level open house, I've always loved the idea of that, and every picture I found of it looked kind of antiquated. So I made you guys a new one in Command. Surprise, surprise. It links right to this document that you have. This is what a 7th level open house looks like, right? So sign in the yard with balloons and riders, and on and on and on. So take
Monica,
Yes, ma'am.
can we go back to that one about the food trucks?
Please.
Okay, if you are doing an established neighborhood that has an HOA, you need to get clearance with the HOA to have the food truck there. And you need to prepare the neighbors for the potential onslaught of traffic. And if you really want to make nice with the neighbors, buy them all whatever food you are serving for like the closest 10 houses, because they are going to be massively inconvenienced.
Yes. Good call, Debbie Overby, as always. So let's find contact vendor. Where did I have it? Let me get to where it was because I'm going to make this change. Schedule the open house. Make sure to contact any HOA and the neighbors if you are doing this. And hopefully you're going to be talking to the neighbors anyway. Maybe they can make a day of it with their children, right? And with the vendor paying for it, right? Some people have been wildly successful for this. I'm not saying you have to do it. I just like to give you guys ideas to run with if you want to. Thank you for that feedback, Debbie. So that's marketing. Push it out on Facebook. It's listed. We're having an open house. It went under contract. It closed, right? We're hitting that every single time. That is marketing gold for every single listing. That's why listings is one of the 3 L's in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, right? Listings, leads, and leverage. Because listings are the cornerstone of our business because they bring us more business. So make sure that you are fully utilizing that opportunity, right? Does anybody have any more questions on that? Good. And as we're moving through, just make sure that you're looking, like I'm saying, to turn in your active listing file into the Market Center for compliance. Do that as you move along, you guys, because it just makes your life a lot easier. In the off chance, or not the off chance, I've seen it happen a lot, that something's wrong. You don't want to wait until that listing closes and go back and be like, oh yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know that you closed last week and I need you to sign this document that I forgot. You don't want to do that, right? Turn them in along the way, making sure that you're getting approvals along the way so that when you get to closing day, paid, right? So looking at this listing here, you want to make sure that in your documents tab, and I don't remember whose office this is, nobody's. Cool. I will pick residential. I think, oh, this is a Winston one. So this is the Winston-Salem checklist, but, you know, add your files here, make sure that you're turning them in as you go along, because that way when you get to closing, all you have to do is upload this last little set. Does anybody have any questions about that and the importance of doing it along the way? I unfortunately had to check compliance for a little bit, and I don't wish that on anybody. And I did it right when the grace period ended for the use of old forms into new forms a couple of years ago. And an agent had used all of the old forms, and she had to go back and get everything re-signed on the newest year's version. I don't want that to happen to any of you guys. It was terrible, and she was very upset. So please turn them in along the way. Turn them in along the way. All right. Negotiations. So receive those offers. If there are multiple offers, you can create an offer comparison sheet in Command. A lot of people have their own Excel sheets that they like to use for that. If you would prefer to use an Excel sheet, ask in your private Facebook group if somebody has a multiple offers Excel spreadsheet that they would share with you, or you can also do it in Command. Okay. So whatever you do, just make sure that when you're presenting those offers, you have a clean, succinct way to show it to your seller so that they can compare and contrast and you can talk through those offers. Good? Awesome. Okay. So once we have an offer accepted, make sure that we get copies of all of our fully executed paperwork, put it in that under contract file in Command, and get it turned in as soon as possible. Collect your due diligence fee. Make sure that you get that delivered to the seller and get their signatures for it, and make sure that you get the earnest money signature back from the buyer's agent, who more than likely took that to the closing attorney's office. Add your offer details to your Command opportunity. Accept the offer in Command so that you can get ready to move into your commissions phase in Command, right? Once all of those forms have been uploaded, submit those forms to the Market Center. Any questions on that piece? Feeling good? Awesome. So due diligence, make sure that you change the status in the MLS, and this checklist is check offable, just so you guys know. It strikes through when you check it. Change that status in the MLS and download that agent full version. We do this for your protection, especially when you're the listing agent. You want proof that you went from active on this date to due diligence on this date, depending on this date, to closed on this date, right? It keeps you accountable to yourself, because I have forgotten to change the status before, and I know that other people have too. So just saying, download that sheet. It helps to make sure that you did it. Add that due diligence date to your calendar. It's the buyer agent's responsibility to adhere to that deadline, but it's still important for you to know it exists. So make sure that you put it in your calendar. Post that under contract to your social media accounts, and prepare for inspections, right? A lot of inspections can happen. I gave a list of some of the ones that could be included there. After all of those inspections are done, you may receive a due diligence repair request. If you do, review it with your seller. One of three things can happen. They can negotiate repairs, and then you're going to get that due diligence request signed and get those repairs scheduled. They can say, I don't want to do repairs, but I'll come off of the marketing price. If that happens, you need to get an agreement to amend contract signed. Or they could say, no, I'm not doing any repairs. That's the seller's right to say that. So whichever one they do, make sure you follow what they ask you to follow, right? And get the appropriate paperwork signed. Good? Any questions on there? Try to set yourself some reminders to stay informed about the status of the loan. I know that appraisals have been an issue recently with all of the multiple offer situations happening, stuff going for way above listing price and then it doesn't appraise. Make sure you have something in place for when that happens. What is the answer if that happens? Of course, if it's a cash deal, it's not, then you won't run into that problem. But make sure that you did see the appraisal get scheduled. You know, just take notes of those things as you're moving along, even though you're not having to schedule them yourself. MLS status should change depending on its own. When you put it in due diligence, it should change over depending automatically at the expiration of the due diligence date. At that point, I would go ahead and either schedule the closing attorney that's handling the closing to complete your seller's documents, or if the seller has an attorney that they want to use, get that scheduled too. If you have a list of utility companies that go with that property, which I usually put into my marketing materials, make sure that the buyer agent has that so that they can schedule the utilities to get transferred over. If you did that home warranty, make sure that you have that ordered. Make sure the buyer schedules their final walkthrough, and make sure that the seller gets that property clear of their belongings and broom swept, right? So that it's looking nice for your final walkthrough. Anybody have any questions there? Are we good? Good deal. Clear to close. Remove your sign and lockbox. Change the seller's address in your command database and add their new neighborhood to your monthly neighborhood nurture smart plan. Even if they are not here anymore, even if they move to Boston, we have agents in Boston, we have data in Boston. Add that new address to them so that they can continue getting information from you, because they probably still know people who live here, right? Or they may know somebody that lives here that's moving up there, that you can help match them with a great agent up there again, right? Secure your closing gift if you're going to be doing one for your seller. It's going to take you into closing day. Everybody feeling good? Does anybody have any questions? Checking the chat. Nope. Good to go. Awesome. The ending's pretty fun and easy, right? Once it's closed, make sure you change that status. Once it's closed with the attorney, make sure you change that status over in the MLS. Get that closed version added into your closed folder in Command. Get your signed copy of the closing disclosure. Put that in Command because we need to turn it in. Did you sign for the seller with the attorney? If you did, make sure that you upload the copy of the power of attorney that gave you the right to do that in Command. Was it a referral? Make sure you upload your referral agreement and the other agent's tax information into Command. If you did a warranty, did it get taken care of? Did you send your closing gift? Send a follow-up survey to your seller. Send a buyer's agent a thank you note. They potentially could be a KW agent one day. Might want to build profit share off of them or with them, right? So always taking those things into consideration to create multiple streams of income there. If it was a referral, make sure you send that referrer a thank you note and let them know that it closed and they should be getting a check. Request a testimonial from the seller. Post everywhere that house just sold. If it's appropriate, tag your sellers and tell them congratulations. Add them to any post-closing smart plans and make sure that you stay in touch with them after closing. I was notoriously bad for not doing that. And now I can't not do that because I have a system that helps me do it, right? So make sure that you use that to your advantage. Wow, we got through it all. We didn't get through the whole buyer's one on Tuesday, so I'm excited that we made it through this list today. So you guys can see, this is a lot. And is Debbie still in here? She is still in here. Debbie knows what I did here. This can all be added as checklist in Command, right? You can keep this as a checklist like this. Yes, not a problem. That's why I made it for you guys. And within your Command opportunities, I'll go back a step so you guys can see. You can set up checklists for all of your phases and stages in Command. So you can see this one that's under my open house right now has this little 0 out of 5 down here. I can open that up. I need to schedule this ice cream truck or food truck. I can set a due date for myself so it sends me a task. I can let the clients know it got done by checking the client update box. I can remind myself to put it in the MLS and check it off. You can add all these things as checklists. So if you get to the point that you want to do that and you need assistance with it, please let me know. You don't have to do it. This is one of those, you don't have to do this in Command. It is a optional, you're going to have to make your opportunity, but these checklist pieces, you don't have to do that, right? But if you feel like it's going to make your life easier, I know that Debbie has her set up, and you want help with it, just please let me know. I'm happy to help you, right?
And if you eventually grow to a point where you have an admin or you have a buyer's agent, you can actually assign those items to that person and it pops up on their task list as a to-do. And it makes the process a lot simpler because the task lists change as you move from category to category. And it really streamlines stuff, and it's helped us not drop the ball on doing our follow-up.
Mhm. Debbie, does this class look oddly familiar in content to my old class, Don't Drop the Ball?
Just a little.
Essentially the same thing, but I wanted you guys to know it's a business discussion. These are the things that we have to do for our listings, right? And if you decide that you want to tech it out, then you can. And if not, you can print out that checklist that I gave you, right?
And I know one of the things on your checklist was the just listed, just sold postcards. And I know for the younger generations, that may seem a little bit outdated,
Mhm.
but we've had people hold on to our card for a year and say, hey, we got the card that you sold the house down the street. Now we're ready to sell. We want you to sell ours. So you really have to kind of, the phrase used to be shotgun blast, and I don't know if that's socially correct anymore, but basically use every platform you can to reach as many people as you can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yes, you can make those postcards here in Command. Yes, I can show you how to do that. And I'm not going to lie, the way that I always handled those postcards, see how this is tagged with Bill Reynolds from Fairway. Billy Reynolds was my favorite lender. He helped with the loan on the house that I'm sitting and teaching you right now. And their company does postcards for you. And they split the cost with you. You literally don't have to do anything except say, hey, Zaina, I listed 123 Main Street. Can you send out a coming soon postcard? Can you send out a just listed postcard? Can you send out an under contract postcard? And can you send out a closed postcard? She does all the work for you. If you say I can spend $100, she'll double it and make it $200. She does everything for you. She sends you proof and then they send it out for you. Right? So you got to know those things exist in order to be able to take advantage of them. But if you want to brand just yourself, you can make beautiful postcards in Command and send them straight out from there. Just do a radius around your listing, right? So you have all those options available. What else, guys? We've got 2 minutes left. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Nothing? Well, good. I hope this helped you guys. I'm always here if you need me. Debbie knows that. She's known me for years. I was the agent services director when Debbie joined. So I did her onboarding and I've been with her the whole time, learning and grooving together. So I really do want to be here to help you guys. Please reach out to me, shoot me a text, send me an email, whatever you need to do. I'm here for you. Zoom's always the same, whether it's a one-on-one or a class. Always coming back to the same spot. Okay.
Can she have some more fresh?
Anything else? All right.
We can find this recording where again?
When I let it convert, it will go up on my YouTube channel and you can click through on my website right there. It takes you into my YouTube channel. And once you're there, follow and click the little bell. And then anytime I upload something, it'll notify you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
You too.
See you guys.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.